Welcome back to the channel. Moneybox is an all-in-one personal finance app with an array of investing, saving, pension and home buying features. I've been using the app for over 5 years now and have previously provided a full video review of the app as well as a deep dive into their saving products. But this video will be different in that it focuses on the investing side of the app and how best to invest with Moneybox. My aim is to answer 3 questions for you by the end of the video. Firstly, whether Moneybox is the right investment platform for you, and if the answer to this is yes, then the second question is what investment account offered from Moneybox is right for you, and the third question is what funds offered by Moneybox are right for you. To achieve answers to these questions, I'm going to split the video into 4 parts. The first part focuses on why you should invest rather than save. The second part focuses on the investment accounts offered from Moneybox. The third part focuses on how to build a portfolio with Moneybox's app and what funds will suit. And the final part of the video will be a pros and cons analysis of Moneybox compared to other investment platforms. If you're new to the channel, I'm Alex, a management consultant by day, and on this channel we like to talk about all things personal finance with particular focus on how to grow your money. If you enjoy the content, I'd really appreciate a like as it's super helpful for smaller channels like mine. And if you'd like to follow my own personal finance journey with regular portfolio updates, as well as a bunch of other personal finance related videos like this one, then I'd greatly appreciate a subscribe. But for this video, let's get into it and let's start off with the first section on why you should invest rather than save with Moneybox. Investing has historically provided a better means to grow your money in the long term compared to savings. For example, we can see here how investing returns for a mid-risk portfolio option from Moneybox beats cash savings returns over a 10-year period. The example shows a comparison of leaving £1,000 in a savings account versus investing it in a mid-risk portfolio option. And the investing option beats the savings option by a return of over £1,000 over the 10-year period. For this reason, investing suits those looking to tuck their money away for the long term, a 5-year plus period, and saving suits those who will need the money in the short term in an under 5-year period. The reason why I've stated a 5-year time frame is because investing is very volatile in the short term. Your returns go up and down very quickly, and if you invest in a short-term period such as 2 years, you take a risk that the market has a bad few years and you end up losing money. For example, we can see here the yearly returns of the S&P 500, which measures the performance of 500 big American companies and is a good gauge of the overall American stock market. And we can see how some years there are big swings downwards, and this shows the risk of investing in the short term. You can lose money by investing in the short term. However, if we look at a 5-year time frame on the same graph, the return tends to be positive over any 5-year period. And a 5-year time frame has historically given global stock market investments enough time to ride out any storms in the market and make a positive return which exceeds the return offered from savings accounts. So investing tends to suit those who are looking at the long term. And now we know this, we can explore the investment accounts offered from Moneybox. Moneybox offers 5 different investment accounts, and each account type will suit individuals with slightly different needs. The first account type is the Stocks and Shares LISA. This is suited to those who are saving up for a property purchase, and specifically their first property purchase. It has a huge benefit that the government will provide a 25% top up to your contributions. The account has a maximum limit of £4,000, so if you max this out, you will get a £1,000 bonus from the government, as that's equivalent to 25%. It's worth noting that there are some strict conditions to withdrawing money from this account. You can only take money out for buying your first time property if you're over 60 or if you're terminally ill. So for this reason, this account is mainly used for those who are looking to save up for their first time property purchase. The second account type is a personal pension, which enables you to save for retirement. And with this account, you benefit from government top-ups equivalent to your tax rate. So if you're a basic rate taxpayer, you will get a tax top-up of 25% on your pension contributions. The third account type is a Stocks and Shares ISA. This is the most common non-pension investment account. And with this, you benefit from some tax advantages, in that any returns made inside the account are tax-free. It's worth noting that this account has a £20,000 limit per year, so you can only invest up to £20,000 per year in this account. The next account is a junior ISA, and this works in a similar way to the Stocks and Shares ISA, in that any gains inside the account are tax-free. However, the difference with this account is that it's focused on investing for your child's future, and given it's for your child, it's only them who can access the funds. And they'll need to wait until they're 18 years of age until they can access the funds. It's worth noting that this account type has a limit of £9,000, and the ISA allowance for this is separate to your own £20,000 limit. So you could max out your £20,000 Stocks and Shares ISA and then also invest £9,000 in a junior ISA for your child. The final account type is the general investment account, and this is a standard investment account which doesn't benefit from any tax savings. Most people watching this will suit either the LISA account option if they're saving up for their first property, or the stocks and shares ISA account option for most other reasons to invest, whether that's flexibility later in life or for a wedding fund. Whatever the reason may be, these are the two main account types most of you watching will suit. And now we know what account type will likely suit you, we can move on to the next section of the video, which is all about how to invest with Moneybox and what funds will suit you. And we can bring up their app to go through the process. And to go through the process, I'm going to open a general investment account as an example. The process is very similar with the other account types. And when you open an account, you must first specify an initial deposit and then a weekly deposit. Moneybox has great features which makes depositing really easy into your investment account, and the deposit is automated from your bank account into your Monzo investment account. And I would recommend following a regular investment approach, as it ensures you continually invest and are not emotionally led by your investment decisions, in that you don't invest more when the market is doing well or less when the market is performing badly. Instead, you get an average market price in an approach known as dollar cost averaging. So for this example, I'm going to select the minimum initial deposit, which is 0, and the minimum weekly deposit, which is 2. And I'm going to confirm and continue. The next step is choosing your funds. And Moneybox firstly asks you to choose one of their starting options. And these are essentially portfolios made up of different funds. For those not aware, a fund is essentially a basket of different investments. So for example, a global stock market fund will be a basket of different stocks from across the world. And each of the starting options will suit different types of investors, as each of these portfolios have very different risk levels. The cautious starting option will suit the more risk averse investors, as if we click on it, we can see this is invested in the typically less risky investments. So for example, a cash trust and bonds is heavily invested in these two assets and only has a small allocation in shares. And shares are typically considered more risky compared to bonds and cash, as they tend to go up and down a lot more. They're much more volatile. So this fund will suit someone who's risk averse, possibly someone who wants to avoid a loss, and possibly someone who's just dipping their toes into investing as a first-time investor and just wants to get an overview and feel for investing. The next starting option is the balanced option. And if we dive into this portfolio, we can see the big difference between the balanced portfolio and the cautious portfolio is the exposure to the global shares fund. The balanced portfolio has a 65% allocation to the global shares fund, whereas the cautious portfolio only had a 15% allocation to the global shares fund. And this means that the balanced portfolio offers potentially higher returns and more growth than the cautious portfolio, but also has more risk associated with it. And the reason for this is because the global shares fund will have historically done better than equivalent funds in the cautious portfolio, such as the cash trust or the overseas corporate bonds fund. However, the global shares fund will have also seen much more volatility. It would have gone up and down a lot more in the short term compared to the equivalent funds in the cautious portfolio. And for this reason, the balanced portfolio will have potentially higher growth potential over the long term, but also will have higher risk associated with it. However, this portfolio isn't as risky as the next portfolio we'll come on to, and the reason for that is because some of the risk is offset by exposure to the corporate bonds fund and the property shares fund. So the balanced portfolio will suit someone who wants to take more risk, but also wants their returns smoothed out. If we move on to the final starting option in adventurous, we can see that this portfolio has the highest percentage allocation to the global shares fund at 80%. There's no surprise that the most risky portfolio, most risky starting option has the highest exposure to the most risky fund in global shares. The portfolio also has the lowest exposure out of the 3 portfolios to the least risky asset in corporate bonds at just 5%. And again, there's no surprise here given what we just went through. And the description from Moneybox for this specific starting option sums up which type of individuals this portfolio suits well. Growth is a high priority and you're willing to accept more volatility in pursuit of greater returns. So hopefully now you know which bucket you fall into, whether that's cautious, whether that's balanced, or whether that's adventurous. And when you know what bucket you fall into, if you click on that bucket, let's say I'm adventurous, then I have the option to customize my allocation. I can customize the allocation of the specific funds in this portfolio, or I can add more funds to this portfolio. Moneybox has over 24 funds, and in the stocks and shares ISA option, account option, you can also buy individual US shares. So you can customize your allocation to suit your specific needs. And let's explore what other funds Moneybox offers and whether you should customize and add these additional funds. So if I click customize allocation and click continue, I can now see the list of 24 different funds. And at the top here, we have filters for groupings of the funds. And if we just flick through a few of these funds, we can see there's a big variety in terms of sector, in terms of region, and in terms of asset type. And I would only, to be honest, choose one of these additional funds if you're experienced in investing and know exactly what funds will suit your needs. So for example, many people may just want to focus on the American stock market, as in recent history, the American stock market returns have outstripped the rest of the world. And for this, to achieve this, they may only invest in an S&P 500 tracking fund. We can see here the S&P 500 ETF from Vanguard is offered. And if I just want exposure to America, I may choose this fund, as this captures 500 very large companies in America and their performance. So if you're in the bucket of knowing exactly what you want and have a clear investment strategy, then picking your own specific funds may suit you and building your own portfolio. However, most people will suit choosing just one of these starting options, one of those free starting options, and then slightly adjusting the percentages for their individual specific needs. For example, someone like me may choose the adventurous portfolio as they're willing to take a lot of risk in order to try and achieve high growth and high returns in the long term. However, the weightings of the funds in this portfolio may not be suited to their specific individual needs, and you can tailor the weightings to try and better suit your needs. So if this is the case, I would select adventurous, I would then select customize allocation, continue, I would select next as I'm not adding any additional funds to this starting option. I'm using the existing funds and just changing the percentages. And then here on this screen, I will customize the allocation to suit my individual needs, to better suit my needs. So for example, I may want 100% allocation to the global shares fund as I want to increase my risk to try and get even more growth. And to achieve this, I'll reduce the property shares fund to 0. I'll also reduce the corporate bonds fund to 0, and then I'll increase the global shares fund to 100%. And if I'm happy with this allocation, I'm happy with my portfolio with Moneybox, I click confirm, and then Moneybox will ask some final questions and will finish the account setup process. So that's how you invest with Moneybox. And for most people, the starting option will suit, and then tailoring it to your individual needs is probably a good idea. So then you get a tailored portfolio for you. So now I've gone through the investing process, we can move on to the final section of the video and the pros and cons analysis of Moneybox's investment features. On the pro side, Moneybox has a very quick and easy setup process for their investment accounts. It's all through their app, it's very simple, it's very quick. They also have good account options which will suit most people. The Stocks and Shares Lifetime ISA is particularly neat as it's quite rare for investing apps, investing platforms in the UK. The fund selection is also good for beginner investors, and the app more generally makes investing easy. The features we've shown today have been very simple, and there's been a bunch of features which we haven't had time to go through, such as roundups, which will help put more money in your investment account. So the feature set is really suited to beginner investors. On the con side, Moneybox has high fees compared to other platforms. Their fees are made up of 4 parts. Firstly, a platform fee of 0.45% equivalent of your investment pot value. Secondly, a subscription fee of £1 a month. Thirdly, fund fees which range from 0.12% to 0.58% depending on what funds you choose, and you'll need to pay fund fees no matter what investment platform you use. And lastly, if you open a Stocks and Shares ISA account option and choose individual US stocks, you'll need to pay a 0.45% currency conversion fee. So most people will only need to pay the first 3 fees. However, the total of these fees is still greater than many other investment platforms out there, such as InvestEngine, which has 0 platform fees, or Trading212, which also has 0 platform fees. Another con of Moneybox's investment features is that they're not suited to experienced investors, as experienced investors are likely looking for much more choice in funds and individual stocks. Moneybox has a fund list of 24 funds, which is great for beginner investors, but likely isn't enough choice for experienced investors. So overall, Moneybox offers a great proposition for beginner investors, or just those who want to have all their savings, all their investments, all their pensions in one single app, one single place. It's an all-in-one personal finance app, and it does that well. However, if you want more choice, if you're an experienced investor, or if you're just fee savvy, then Moneybox probably won't suit, as there's platforms out there with much greater choice in funds, in individual stocks, and much lower fees. If you want to check out my other video on the saving features of Moneybox for their Cash ISA and Cash LISA, you can check out the video, it should be around here. But for this video, thanks for watching.